What?
Hi, my name is Tori. Welcome to Commentary, where I talk even when no one is listening. So today we're going to be talking about the resurfacing of Oli London. First of all, who is Oli London? Oli London is an English internet-based personality and singer.
You got me. I got you.
What is true though is that Oli London has had I think it is 18 surgeries and treatment since 2013 just to look like Jimin from BTS. So Oli London, as the articles say, Oli London identifies as a non-binary person. Due to this, it has been said that Oli London has also been receiving death threats. Oli says, and I quote, "This week has been insane. I've literally had thousands of death threats. People telling me to kill myself, people telling me they're going to come and find me and shoot me, like really extreme stuff." The next thing I want to touch on that I said earlier was the term transracial. I didn't know that this existed, but it does. Transracial people identify as a different race than the one associated with their ancestry. So basically, Oli is apparently transracial because Oli has switched their whole identity as a person from British to Korean, which is something that you just can't do. You can't change your ancestry, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that would be clear, but honestly it isn't, because Oli can do it, so can you. I'm just joking. So Oli London is British born, is white, but they have transitioned races, showing off their Korean eyes. Oli says, and I quote, "Now I feel Korean. I identify with the Korean community. Maybe they will accept me more because I have the look. Maybe people think I'm actually Korean, which would make me really happy." Oli. Transitioning physically to look like a Korean person is not going to make you ethnically Korean. If you want to be accepted in a different culture that you're from, you don't take 18 plastic surgeries to look like one person from that community in order to feel accepted. But tell me, so this is a bumpy ride, you know, you're driving a pothole. This video give me the vibe, like, could the possibility actually arise that Oli London is in fact Korean? Question mark. Anyways, Kevin Cockley, a professor at the University of Austin, Texas, says, and I quote, "Oli didn't live the experience of being Korean. Simply not identifying with the culture is not the same, as I was saying before, and does not have Korean ancestry. An additional problem to this, which is the thinking that doesn't consider whether the so-called community that the individual identifies with accepts them as a member of the community." Cockley goes on to explain that, simply put, would Koreans consider Oli to be Korean? I think it is safe to say that they probably would not. So Oli calling themselves a transracial Korean does not make them Korean. No matter how much they exist, they insist. You can't be Korean, Oli, just because you change your look. It says that London did not immediately reply to insiders' request for comment on this story. I wonder why. You cannot physically modify your looks and then all of a sudden think that you can become a part of this culture or be the people in this culture, all because you modify how you physically look. You haven't lived the experience of being Korean, as was previously said. You can even try to learn the language, try to change yourself all you want, but ethnically you cannot be another race that you weren't born to be. This brings me to the next point. Is Oli actually Asian fishing? As was said before, Oli recently did a surgery on their eyes to make them look like monolids. Asian fishing is a term used to describe people who try to pass as East Asian. This is mostly seen through makeup or photo editing, where the eyes in particular intentionally are looked to being have as monolids. No, over all these years, I personally I've met Asian people before, and even online I've watched videos about the stereotypes that especially Asians in the US go through. Over the years, Asians have been ridiculed for having monolids, having a different type of culture. Xenophobia also exists, using a physical feature that they're born with, that they were ridiculed for growing up, causing a lot of trauma. I personally can't speak for myself because I'm an Asian person, but it's what I've heard persons say. And just cherry picking that part of a person's, physical being to use as something else, it's not great. It's not fine because people have lived the trauma for being ridiculed for the body that they were born in. And then you're going to use it to make a fashion statement. So the next point that I actually want to touch on is the fox eye trend on TikTok. Persons basically alter the shape of their eyes using different types of makeup and stuff to create the slanted eyes or monolid look. And influencers actually started using this thing called a migraine pose to actually achieve the slanted eye and monolid look, like that persons would even use to taunt Asians. The migraine pose, it suggests a lot. This whole trend is racist because Asian people have been ridiculed and stereotyped for having features like this, but persons fail to see like the beauty existing on a person that is Asian. The beauty doesn't come out unless it's a fashion trend. I see that when persons appropriate other cultures, they're free to do so, them do it all the time, them just go and them just appropriate, but when it is time for these specific persons to stand up for the rights of the persons that, them are take where things from, appropriate from, they fail to be consistent, they fail to keep up, they fail to protect these people that they're appropriating from, and everybody stays silent. Black Lives Matter. Time and time again, things have been stolen and appropriated from black culture without even being given any credit. And black persons have been stereotyped against for years and whatever. And when the time comes for black issues to be spoken about by the same people who are ridiculing and appropriating black culture, where are they? Where are they? An Asian person on Twitter was actually saying about this whole issue, and I quote, "Personally, as an Asian, Emma Chamberlain's post made me uncomfortable. The whole fox eye trend isn't cute in general. People have been slanting their eyes as a way to mock Asians for years. I've literally had people purposely slant their eyes when I tell them I am Asian." So, having heard everything that I've said, I just came to one conclusion. Oli London is basically trolling. Honestly, because who in the hell could I really come think about this and actually portray it? Maybe Oli just wants some fame on the internet because this is what them people doing nowadays. Because even when I visit Oli's Twitter, some things that Oli says make sense, and then on the other hand, it's like, why you gonna do that to yourself? At this point, Oli is just trolling for internet fame. This whole thing that Oli is doing, trying to be Korean, you'll never get that because ethnically, you weren't born Korean. So, you cannot be Korean. Identify as Korean as you want, but at the end of the day, a night, basically. At the end of the day, a night. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Guys, tell me what you think about this down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you Tuesday.
Sasangihani panakwa Oppa, I'm singing Microcosms just for you. You got me. I got you. Sa singing ba na